Dan Willis here, and we're talking about how long does bad credit stay on your credit report? For the overwhelming majority of credit report dings, they can stay on your credit report for a maximum of 7 years. This includes items such as late payments, medical bills, collections, charge-offs, repossessions, foreclosures, and more. The few exceptions include a Chapter 7 bankruptcy where you're not responsible for the repayment of any debt. That'll remain on your credit report for a maximum of 10 years. This is according to the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA. This federal law is what regulates the credit bureaus and credit reporting industry. While 7 years is the maximum amount of time, did you know there is no minimum amount of time any negative item must remain on your credit report? It's true. Every year, millions of negative items are removed from consumers' credit reports, and long before the 7 year maximum bad credit prison sentence is served. After all, when's the last time you heard of a criminal serving their maximum prison sentence? So then why should you? Moreover, based on a 2012 study by the Federal Trade Commission, FTC, millions of Americans have errors on their credit reports. Further, for many millions of Americans, these errors are costing them real dollars and cents in higher interest rates, deposits, and fees, not to even mention the embarrassment of having a less than perfect credit score. Big picture, your credit score is akin to your grade point average, GPA, in glory school days bygone. It doesn't matter if you're acing every class if you're failing Spanish. That one negative mark will obliterate your overall GPA. This too is true of your credit score. This is why it's so crucial to remove any credit report dings, blemishes, and errors, as this is the cause for millions of Americans to have a low credit score. And if you're working to get a better credit score, it's also important to simultaneously build credit to most efficiently restore your creditworthiness, as in use your current accounts responsibly. The credit bureaus claim that after the 7 year maximum sentence is served, these bad credit report items will fall off naturally. And for some folks, that's true. But for countless more, it's not, as you'll soon see. You may also want to believe the credit bureaus will keep your personal financial data safe and sound. But we all know that ain't true. Recall the 2017 Equifax hack that resulted in over 140 million Americans' financial data being stolen? That crime was committed by China's Communist Party. Every honest student of history will be the first to tell you these are the last people we want to have Americans' financial data. Communists. Communists are criminal regimes. Estimates conservatively say communism has killed 100 million people in just the last 100 years. While it is true that as these bad credit items age or get older, it'll have less impact on your credit score. Nevertheless, it'll remain a thorn in the side of your credit score. Just think how challenging it'd be to get a good GPA if you have a failing mark, even if it's from Spanish class. Your credit score is no different, and if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Now let's talk about ethical credit repair. Listen, exactly like in our politics, we have a lot of propaganda, aka fake news, floating about. The credit repair industry is much the same. In fact, the credit bureaus are widely known for promulgating rather sophisticated public relations campaigns to further their agenda. For example, the blasphemous idea that it's illegal to remove negative credit before the maximum 7 year bad credit prison sentence is served, as if the credit bureaus have a SWAT team at the ready to punish anyone that tries to escape being viewed as a second-class citizen early. Some of these propaganda pushers pretend like it's illegal to even dispute an item on your credit report, if you know it's accurate. For folks familiar with the industry, you can't help but wonder if these propaganda preachers can even read. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is federal law passed to protect you, the consumer. It's on your side. It clearly says what consumer rights you have, and when used wisely, it can be an effective tool to get rid of bad credit and fight for your right to have a fair, substantiated, and verified credit report. To begin with, once more, because it's essential to wrap your head around this, 7 years is the maximum amount of time most negative items can legally remain on your credit reports. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. With frequency, lenders, creditors, and debt collectors violate this most basic tenet of the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Let's use an example to illustrate. Let's say you have a credit card and life's roller coaster hits and you're unable to make your monthly payments. After about 6 months of delinquency, this account typically will be placed in collections. What often happens is when the debt collector takes possession of the account, they believe they have 7 years from the date they came in possession of the account in which to devastate your creditworthiness and report that account on your credit reports. And it gets worse, because depending on the size of your debt, the account can be resold from one collection agency to another potentially indefinitely. Generally, the larger the debt, the more times it'll be resold from one agency to another. Furthermore, the debt collection industry is notorious for re-aging consumer accounts. This enables them to continue to attempt to collect payment despite the contract no longer being legally enforceable. And they know and use the credit bureaus and reporting negative information on your credit reports as a way to pressure you to pay. That's not all. Did you know if you pay off an old debt in collections, this can technically be viewed as account activity? Thus, from your settlement date, it re-ages the debt, and consequently, you can be stuck with that bad credit item for 7 more years. Talk about adding insult to injury, and this can happen with accounts that are already 5 years old, for instance. This is why the Experian Credit Bureau says, and we quote, "Paying the debt won't necessarily help your credit scores. Accounts that get to the collection stage are about as negative as it gets. Only bankruptcy is worse. As a result, any improvement, especially right away, probably will be very minor." End quote. FICO even says the fact that you have collections listed on your credit report will almost certainly lower your FICO score. And they go on to say, as far as your FICO score is concerned, 2 things are considered. Has a collection appeared on your credit report and when it was reported? So whether or not you pay your collections off is really a personal decision. End quote. And if you'd like to see these quoted along with links over, we're going to include a link in the description below over to an article at our website for the full story where we have these all sourced and cited. And we also have a free report available there, the 7 proven ways to boost your credit score. On a sidebar, every state has a law that's called the Statute of Limitations. This is the time window for which you are legally responsible for repayment for just about every type of consumer debt. Generally, this state law says consumers are only responsible for repayment for about 7 years, but it does vary from state to state, so for full details, check out your local legislation. Once this legal time window runs out and expires, in accordance with state law, the debt is supposed to be legally forgiven. To be crystal clear, this is 7 years with no account activity. There have been numerous debt collectors fined by our government for breaking all the rules. One of the best examples is with Midland Funding, who had an employee admit in court to signing 200 to 400 fraudulent affidavits per day. If you're not familiar, this is the evidence used by debt collectors to win a lawsuit against consumers. So, using fake evidence, there have been consumers, and many of them, that have been sued and found liable or responsible and consequently had judgments placed against them. Judgments can potentially result in wage garnishments, liens placed against you and or your property, in some cases even asset seizure. Again, every state has unique laws, so for full details, investigate your local legislation. And this doesn't even get into the consumers that have had judgments awarded against them for an account that wasn't even theirs. In other words, the debt collector sued the wrong person and won. Nor consumers that have had judgments for debts way past the statute of limitations legal time window. There are many debt collectors that specialize in suing consumers, along with the buying of what's called uncollectible accounts, and also known as junk debt. These accounts are bought for just pennies on the dollar. As an example, collection agencies may be contacting you to repay a $1,000 debt, but they bought the rights to that debt for a mere $30 or 3 cents on the dollar. Absolutely ludicrous. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Now are the credit bureaus government agencies. Another common fallacy is the idea the credit bureaus are part of our government or have some quasi-government status. This is in contradiction to the sole purpose of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, FCRA. The Fair Credit Reporting Act was passed to protect you from the credit bureaus. Did you know the credit bureaus used to send out welcome ladies to visit with new neighborhood residents? While these welcome ladies may have come bearing cookies, their real purpose was to get background information on behalf of the credit bureaus. This was during a time when the color of your skin, your religion, even if you smelled of alcohol, was recorded on your credit reports. This was prior to the passing of the Fair Credit Reporting Act and at a time when you did not have a right to even view what was in your credit report. So if there was a mistake, you were screwed and had no recourse. The truth is, all three of the credit bureaus are not your friend. They've created an estimated $4 billion a year industry by collecting information about you and me and then selling that information to our potential lenders, creditors, and today even possible employers. There's abundant evidence the credit bureaus don't care about consumer rights. They've been fined time and time and time again for violating consumer rights. In 2015 alone, the credit bureaus collectively agreed to settle and pay $6 million to 31 state attorneys general, along with implementing a number of changes, including to the requirements of information included or excluded from consumer credit reports. Did you know only in recent years have the credit bureaus even offered products and services to consumers? Prior to that, they just sold our information to our potential lenders and creditors. In other words, you as a consumer couldn't buy anything directly from the three credit bureaus. And if you'd like some help, you can get a free credit report consultation by calling toll-free 1-844-517-7627. Again, that's for a free credit report consultation, and the toll-free phone number is 1-844-517-7627. This is Dan Willis. We're going to include a link in the description below over to an article at our website for the full story. We also have a free report available there, the 7 proven ways to boost your credit score. And of course, subscribe and join our congregation, because coming up next, we're going to be talking about how to get these bad credit items off of your credit report legally and by exercising your rights as a consumer. So, of course, subscribe. Have a wonderful day, and looking forward to talking to you again here soon.